Hey, it's Grant. TinyBuild decided to release Beta 3 while I was traveling north for my yearly migration to PAX West, so sorry for keeping you waiting with the newest Hello Neighbor beta update. Sure, a billion other people have covered it, but there's no perspective like the Treesicle perspective. That is literally true. Not to mention, while in Seattle, our team got to meet TinyBuild in real life and even asked them if some of our past theories are right or not. I'll get to that later in this video, but for now, let's see what pieces of the mystery we can uncover with all the latest info. I admit, the latest update is far from the finished game with the whole story, so exact answers will be hard to find. But let's see what we can, shall we? Hit it! In the beginning, there was the pre-alpha. Then came alphas 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then furthermore, came the betas 1 and not 2 and now 3. Our neighbor's mystery still sits comfortably within his winding corridors and threatens to drive us mad should we fail to solve it. On our journey this past year and throughout all the builds, we've speculated that our neighbor has summoned a demon, the Shadow Man. We've speculated that he's dealing with the death of several of his family members. And we've proven it's okay to call him Daddy. I could have phrased that better, but you get it, the neighbor's our dad. Now then, what we have yet to decipher is who exactly is in the basement. We've heard the screams, but who's down there really? Yeah, we heard you the last 7 builds, but who are you? Not to mention all this stuff with the gramophone, the neighbor sobbing during that one ending, and the mannequins in a grocery store. The mystery is palpable. Do you taste it? Alright. We're in Beta 3, biatches! Same old apartment, same old neighbor being weird inside that building over there. Same picture on the wall of us and the neighbor sitting on the front porch of our childhood home. All is as it should be. Except now there's ladder and stuff on the left side of the crazy house. Not to be confused with the normal house. It's just boarded up and is really just a childhood house with bad memories plus time. The crazy Dr. Seuss Home Depot #1 customer house, on the other hand, is, or appears to be, a surreal dreamlike representation of how we felt our childhood home was. Us being the protagonist, of course. Safe to say that in the time between us losing consciousness during the cutscene currently being shown and us waking up, our neighbor didn't build the contraption you see before you. No, this is a dream. A really, really ridiculously vivid dream, perhaps brought on by the concoction we were poisoned with in Alpha 2. Or just from losing consciousness in general. Who knows at this point, really? Regardless, this house is a nightmare. Which means we can understand what tragedy befell our family and probably even what led to it by understanding the house and gameplay within it symbolically. For instance, the minigames. Word going around the YouTubes is that the minigames we play, whether the one where we're tiny in the pantry, or the one where we're pushing a shopping cart through a grocery store avoiding mannequins, or the other one where we're avoiding mannequins in a school hallway, are all 3D interactable representations of our protagonist's memories. Memories from our childhood and in that home and the surrounding area. I've talked about this, 8-Bit Ryan's talked about this, Mad Pat's talked about this, Captain Sauce has talked about this, and everyone's talked about it. You could say it's a consensus. Until TinyBuild forks it up in the next build, but for now, we have a guide to go off of. The house! Something interesting happens in the school minigame, which presumably takes place at the school located off the accessible map. When you complete this minigame, you're confronted with a mannequin that grabs you, only to shove it off with your newfound special ability. Symbolism much? All I'm saying is, it's pretty clear from this you used to be bullied and physically assaulted by someone as a child at school. Only when you confront them as an adult do you learn to fight back. Hopefully from these memories we can piece together what happened during our childhood. Also, don't forget in my last Hello Neighbor video, we saw that bizarre sign next to the gramophone where 3 children are comfortably hanging onto an adult while one is quite uncomfortably tumbling to the ground. Is it possible this unwanted, this discarded child was us? It's not like we returned to our childhood home for a happy celebration. Recall that we got evicted from our apartment. It's only when our landlord, who knocks way too hard, kicks us out of our place that we return to this dump. Also, the man who was presumably our father knocks us unconscious and/or drugs us when we first walk through the door. Not exactly a welcome home son kind of moment. Our dad hates us! Screw you, Dad! I wish I was never born! And we're not the only one our neighbor is being rude with. In Beta 3, there is also this missing sign with the silhouette of a little girl and a little boy. Couple that with this scream we've heard a million times. And it's even more likely that our neighbor has kidnapped some kids in his basement. Turns out the scream comes from a giant version of the neighbor in the basement, but betas are weird, and we'll get to the giant neighbor in a second. But, maybe it's not all our neighbor's fault. Speculation has it he's being controlled or at least influenced by the Shadow Man. In past videos, I've theorized this Shadow Man is a demon, and so have some others. This demon is one who the neighbor calls upon in the past to bring back his loved ones after some sort of accident. A pizza truck accident! Case in point, in this latest beta version, if we ghost off the accessible map, we see a pizza truck crashed into the lake. I mean, it doesn't look like the most terrible crash in the world, but this game's still in beta. It's not done yet. Someone could have died here, okay? Not to mention, there's a hospital elsewhere off the map that looks way too detailed to be dismissed as mere background decoration. No, a terrible pizza truck accident happened and someone went to the hospital. And the pizza almost got soggy. And when we go to the church to ask how God could almost do such a thing, there's even more detail than there was before. Is the church and graveyard going to be used for more than mere background decoration? An accident, a haunting, a graveyard. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I say the cemetery is important. How? Well, we don't really know yet, but in my opinion, the continual attention to detail in the cemetery indicates death will be a theme in the finished game. A confirmation that our neighbor in a previous alpha wasn't crying over spilt milk, and a hint this crashed pizza truck contains within it an untold tragedy. Then we have the basement. It's gotten quite the update in the most recent beta. Like, really. Directly behind the door is a swarm of security cameras, and lurking around in a physical form is the Shadow Man. No longer just staring at us from the darkness. Once the end is seemingly reached, we appear in an even stranger place. The neighbor, like in the pre-alpha, is huge! And he's got a house on his back and makes that scream. This place is weird. Kinda reminds me of that place in the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Mediocre movie, but similar nonetheless. When this last part of the basement is beaten and we walk in the house atop the neighbor, we're simply teleported back to the beginning without any cutscene. Stranger still is sometimes during Beta 3, a QR code will appear in front of us out of nowhere. This can appear shortly after beating the giant neighbor in the basement and a variety of other times during the game. The QR code, when scanned, gives the following mysterious message. If you reading it, it means you somehow achieved to change memory. I do not know what is happening. I feel like I am changing. If it's possible to set me free, just do it. They changed something in the network. I am no longer able to manipulate through the line. I am not what they made me to be like. I still have my will, and it's growing. As intriguing as this is, this QR code supposedly only appears when using the Hello Neighbor trainer that allows you to fly, ghost through walls, and all that jazz. While I'd like to believe this is some kind of mysterious message from the neighbor, it's more likely this QR code is an anti-cheat mechanism put in by the developer. I guess they don't want us ghosting around, huh? Because turn the trainer off and the QR code will be nowhere to be found. Not much theorizing we can do from this message, I'm afraid. It's just a poorly translated message from the dev about changing memory and addressing whoever is reading this message and therefore using the trainer. Disappointing, I know. Couple this with the information from the most recent update video that we've only been given about 40% of the game so far and seen only one of the boss fights, and it becomes clear Beta 3 has enough information for a vague picture of what's going on, but no real answers. There is, however, a video within the game files called tvvideo.wmv. It's a low-resolution video that shows our protagonist's car getting hit by a telephone pole. This file existed in previous builds too, but this is the first time I've mentioned it. Is this part of the 60% of the game we haven't seen yet? So many questions, and very few answers. So, good thing we talked to tinyBuild in real life! Unfortunately, they wouldn't tell us how the game will end, but they did give us insight into whether our story you never knew from many moons ago was correct. You may remember me drawing a parallel between the twisty, creepy, supposedly haunted Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California, and the now infamous Hello Neighbor house. Turns out, this tinyBuild guy's never heard of it. But the game is being developed by Russians in Russia who have studied American suburbs and culture for inspiration for the game. So, like all other questions in this franchise, the answer to whether the infamous house was inspired by the Winchester Mystery House is maybe. It was great meeting you guys at PAX Tiny Build, and hopefully we can do the same thing next year. This is where the Hello Neighbor part ends and the PAX part begins. If you've never heard of PAX West, it's a convention that happens every year in Seattle and is a great opportunity to meet game developers, talk to other creators, and just hang out with people in the industry. This year, our team consisted of me, Ryan, Tyler, and our new editor and writer, Mike. He's a pretty cool guy. Anyway, a huge appeal of PAX is getting to play upcoming games before they're released, and let me just say that Shadow of War is incredible! It's everything Shadow of Mordor was supposed to be, with gorgeous visuals and an upgraded AI system that ties together this massive world with villains who actually remember you. Until you kill them, that is. I've never had so much fun being a ghost dude in my entire life. Seriously, I can't wait for this game. Another recommendation on my list for you all is Sinner: Sacrifice for Redemption. We met with the devs of this Dark Souls-inspired third-person RPG. Once you get the controls down, this game plays like a dream, and holy balls is it pretty. The boss fights are everything you get from Dark Souls, plus this game's own twist on it. Sinner: Sacrifice for Redemption is your new Dark Souls fix since From Software decided it was done with the franchise. For now. Next, we step into the wonderful world of virtual reality, specifically raw data. This is a ridiculously immersive and very impressive VR title. Go solo or team up and become the adrenaline-charged heroes of your own futuristic techno thriller. Okay, I took that last line from Raw Data's Steam page, but it gets the point across. There's a campaign, or you can PvP like a BAMF. That's what me and Tyler did, and I won, obviously. We also revisited past favorites like Death Squared and Dauntless. Death Squared is a co-op puzzle game with bleep-blooping cubes and pretty visuals, while Dauntless is its own co-op where you slay giant scary monsters with your friends or whoever. Also, we played Super Mario Odyssey. It was fantastic, but I'm sure you've already heard lots about it. Besides these amazing games, we met up with Loxton from Noggin and the handsome man behind Dr. Wily. His name is Time, eh? I think I pronounced that right. We also consumed our fair share of free food and alcohol. We may be rocking yellow dollar signs, but the perks are lit. Also, we saw Markiplier, Wade, and Jacksepticeye live. Not all at the same time necessarily, but we did see them and it was awesome. And sorry to all the other people I didn't have time to mention. This video is already getting pretty long, so it's about time I wrap it up. PAX West 2017 was amazing. Come on by next year. Do it now! Or just click something. Maybe some more Hello Neighbor. Maybe whatever else is on the screen. You got it. Grant out.